Bonjour tout le monde. Mon
Hello
nom
everyone.
est Marie-Claude Lacroix.
My
Je
name is
suis
Marie-Claude
liaison
Lacroix.
Wampum à deux voix pour le
I am
conseil
Turo Wampum
traditionnel
Liaison
Kanienkehaka,
for
le
the
conseil
Kanienkehaka
traditionnel
Traditional
Mohawk.
Council, the Mohawk
Ceci
Traditional
est
Council.
l'épisode
And this
4,
is episode number
discussion
4
à propos du Wampum
of the
à deux
Turo
voix.
Wampum Talk.
Aujourd'hui, ce que j'aimerais,
So today,
mon
what I would
rôle,
like,
j'aimerais vous expliquer
actually
un petit peu mon
my
rôle en tant
role,
que
I would like to
liaison.
explain to you what I
Être
have to do as
liaison
liaison.
pour une maison
To be liaison
traditionnelle Mohawk,
for a
c'est pas très long,
traditional
en fait, c'est simplement de
longhouse,
faire
Mohawk
un
longhouse,
pont
it's
entre
simply
les
to
peuples
create the
originaires
bridge
et les
between the
non-natifs.
original people
Ça,
and
c'est
the
mon rôle.
non-native.
C'est ce
That
que
is
j'ai
my
fait, en
role.
fait,
And
ces
this is what
4
I
ans.
have been
Et
doing for
les
4
discussions,
years.
en fait, que j'ai
And this
entamées, c'est
conversation
simplement
that I
pour
started
partager
is
avec
simply to
les
share
gens
with
mon expérience que
people
j'apprends
my
au contact des peuples
experience
originaires, de
that
cette
I'm
culture
learning
tellement
through the original
riche
people
et
with
magnifique.
their amazingly
Aujourd'hui, le
rich and
thème que
amazing
j'aimerais
culture.
aborder, c'est
So
de
today the
discuter vraiment
theme I
du
would
Wampum
like
à deux
to
voix
talk about
et
is
en
to
ce qui
talk about the
concerne
Turu
directement
Wampum, but
les Québécois.
directly
Donc,
linked
ça sera
to
vraiment intéressant
the
et
Québécois
comme
people.
toujours,
It's going to
avant
be interesting.
d'entamer
And
la
as
conversation
always,
avec
before
les
starting the
présents,
conversation
j'aimerais
with you
procéder à
that
une
will
petite
be
ouverture
present
de la
here,
manière que
I would
j'ai
like to proceed
apprise
to an
avec
opening, the way that I have
les
learned
langues
it,
du
with
Congé
the
colonial
traditional
Kanienkehaka.
longhouse of
Donc,
the
c'est vraiment,
Kanienkehaka
encore
Council.
une fois, pour situer les gens,
So
cette
again, to
ouverture-là
locate
et
people, this
vraiment
opening
de s'aligner avec ce qui est
is to
important dans
align
la création.
ourselves with what
Donc,
is important in
on
creation.
discute, on a
And
ces
when we
choses-là bien
talk,
fraîches
we
en
have
tête
these things
pour
very fresh
que
in
nos mots
mind
soient alignés avec ce qui
for our
est
words to
important
be aligned with what is important
dans ce monde. Donc, je vais procéder
in
à
this
cette
world.
petite ouverture.
So I will
Ensuite, on va
proceed to
parler
this
du
small
Wampum à deux
opening,
voix,
and then we will talk
directement relié au
about the
Québécois
Turu
qui vient de suivre.
Wampum linked to the
Alors, mon
Québécois.
nom est
It will be very
Marie-Claude.
interesting.
Je suis
My
la
name is
fille
Marie-Claude.
d'Yvette
I am the great
et
daughter
fille
of
de
Yvette
Francine.
and the daughter of Francine.
Et j'aimerais remercier la
I would
famille
like to
Ciel de
thank
m'avoir
Sky
donné un
Woman
esprit,
for giving me my
esprit de
spirit
toute
and the
chose dans la
spirit
création.
of all things
Je
in
voudrais également
creation.
remercier
I would
ma
like to
grand-mère Moon
thank
pour m'avoir
my
donné
grandmother
mon
Moon
sang et le
for
sang
giving me
de
my
toute
blood and the
créature,
blood
de la
of
création.
all
J'aimerais
creatures and
également
all creation.
remercier ma
And also, I would
mère-mère de
like to
m'avoir donné
thank
mon
my
corps et le
Mother
corps de
Earth to
toute
have
chose
given
de
me my
création.
body and the body of all
J'aimerais
and
également
all
remercier
things in
toutes les femmes,
creation.
de la toute petite
I would like
de
to thank
nous
all the
jusqu'à la
women
plus
from the
âgée des
newest baby
grand-mères,
born
elles
to
sont
the
les
eldest
mères de la
grandmother,
création.
as they are all
J'aimerais
the mothers of our
remercier
nation. I would
la
like to thank
superbe médecine et
their
l'amour de nos
beautiful
mères, de nos
medicine, the
grand-mères,
love of our
qui
mothers and
nous
our
font tellement
grandmothers
bien.
that is
Et
feels so
je
good
souhaite
actually.
donc que cette
And
médecine se
I
répande
wish
beaucoup
that
plus,
this
qu'on
medicine
entende vraiment
be
beaucoup plus cette voix de
everywhere
femmes qui
on our
portent
Mother Earth,
la
that we
vie,
could
qui
hear the
donnent la
voice
vie.
of women that
Et j'aimerais
carry
également
lives and
remercier
gives
toutes les eaux
life.
et toutes
And I would
les
like to
eaux,
also thank
ainsi
all the
que
waters and
la
all the medicine,
création dans toute
as well as all the
son belle
creation in
spiritualité.
its
Alors voilà,
beautiful spirit.
l'ouverture. Alors, comme je
So
disais tout
this
à
is the
l'heure,
opening.
on
So
va
as I
parler
said
aujourd'hui,
earlier, we will
j'aimerais
talk
qu'il y ait
about
des
the Turu
Québécois
Wampum.
qui soient
I hope
présents
that
parce que c'est
some
un
Québécois will
sujet
be present
bien
because it is
c'est
very
un sujet un
passionate
peu
subject.
controversé, parler de
It could
politique,
also be
société, etc.
controversial,
Mais je me
politics,
lance
etc.
parce
But
que,
no,
en
I'm
fait, j'ai des
going,
choses
I'm
que
jumping,
j'aimerais échanger avec
because
vous,
I
j'aimerais
have
vous entendre
things that I
également.
would like to exchange with you. I would like to
Donc,
hear
qu'est-ce
from
que
you
le
too.
Wampum en deux voix, mais
Donc, what is
directement
the Turu
relié
Wampum,
aux
but
Québécois?
directly
Pourquoi
linked to the
directement relié aux
Québécois?
Québécois?
Why
Il faut que
directly
je
linked to the
reprenne ça du
Québécois?
début,
I
faire un
have
petit
to
peu
start from the beginning,
l'historique de ce qui s'est passé
a
sur
bit
ce
of a
territoire.
history of what happened
Donc, on
on
se trouve
this
ici sur l'île de la
territory.
Tortue,
So we are right
soi-disant
now
les
on Turtle
Amériques.
Island,
Ça a été porté
so-called
ce nom-là depuis
Americas.
des milliers d'années.
It
Ça
was
se passe toujours le long
called
de ce
Turtle Island for
territoire-là.
thousands of years, so it's still the
En
name.
fait, les forces colonisatrices qui sont
And
arrivées
the
sur cet
colonizing
immense
forces that
territoire
came to
sur
this
10 000 ans,
immense territory,
l'histoire
as
a
you
bien
know,
démontré que
the history
l'intérêt
had
était
shown that the
ces
interest
forces-là
was by these forces to
des ressources que eux
take
voient en
the
fait comme des ressources
what they
que les
call
peuples originaires ont
resources
pas
and what the
considérées comme des
original
forces
people
de vie,
always seen
de nos
as
terres
a
mères,
life
qu'on doit
force of our Mother
respecter, qu'on
Earth that we
doit
must respect,
utiliser avec
we
respect,
must
donc,
use with
etc.
respect and
Donc,
balance,
les
etc.
traités qui ont accueilli
So the
les
treaty
immigrants,
that
appelons-les comme ça,
welcome all the immigrants,
c'est en fait
let's
la
call
loi de
them
ce
that way,
territoire-là,
it's
c'est
in
la
fact
grande loi de la
the
paix.
law of this
La grande loi de la
territory
paix,
is the great law of
on n'en
peace.
connaît rien.
The great law of
C'est
peace, we don't know anything
assez
about it.
incroyable
And
et
it's quite
également
incredible.
le but de ces conversations.
And that is the goal of these
La vraie histoire
conversations,
n'est pas nécessairement
because the true
racontée à
history
l'école.
is not
Et
necessarily
la grande
told
loi de
at
la paix, moi
school.
personnellement,
And the
je ne la
great law of
connaissais pas.
peace,
C'est
personally,
une
I didn't know it.
méthodologie en
It's a methodology that was founded by the Mohawks and many nations gathered under this confederation of the five-nation confederacy, and it re-established peace in times of war and maintained it for 2,000 years. So we're truly in touch with something of historical importance, fundamental importance. And there's always one treaty, founding treaty of each territory. You cannot change that. It's the identity of the territory, and it's not surprising that the identity of the territory was given to the original people that live upon that territory for thousands of years, and these, as opposed to the colonizing forces. So we must relocate ourselves with the people that welcome here and what happened after that. So when we speak about Quebec, we must ask, when we want to be recognized as a nation, by whom do you want to be recognized by? Because if we look at history, colonizing forces that came here on Turtle Island never respected their agreements. The Turu Wampum, I talked about it in previous conversation. The Turu Wampum was offered, it's the vehicle of the Great Law of Peace, and it was offered to all immigrants that arrive here on Turtle Island. And all are legally linked to this treaty that says, don't interfere in my culture and respect our Mother Earth. Live in balance with our Mother Earth. So it is a legal treaty that binds us legally to this commitment that our ancestors gave their word to respect. And even further in this history, what links very precisely the Québécois and how it is a legal tool that could be used by the Québécois. In 1999, the Québécois became the legal signatory regarding the Turu Wampum. What it means is that there was an agreement that happened in Ganawagi between the Mohawk, the Kanienkehaka, and the British Crown. And the Québécois, as a legal signatory, we were there to ensure that this agreement between these two parties is respected. So we're legally linked. That means if we see that the agreement wasn't respected, the role of the legal signatory is to denounce the disrespect of this treaty. To denounce the disrespect of that treaty, we take back our voice and our power as a human being because, as I said earlier, Quebec wants to be recognized by who or by what? Do you want to be recognized by these colonizing forces that had organized a premeditated genocide onto the original people that welcomed here on Turtle Island? What's that worth? Or would you rather be recognized by the original people of this territory? This is the fundamental question. Because since I've been in touch with the original people, what I realize is that we cannot build anything with rotten roots. You can't build a pride of Québécois pride on a territory that has murder, rape, and still the original people of this territory. To me, has no value, these terminology Québécoise. What I would like to offer as a possibility is that the Quebec, I will tell you, many people will be offended. I am telling you. But the French language is not our original language. We are so colonized that we forget that we all emerged from the earth. In our true roots, we all go back to being original people, and we all had this native language, and that was lost with the colonization. Even in Europe, the building didn't grow from the ground. So this territory was actually colonized. And before, there were some people that lived in balance with the territory, and they were the original people. And this is where we all come from. My ancient roots, native roots, come from Europe, and there was a language linked to that. What I learned also is that the French language is an invention of the British Crown. Well, it's not my favorite people, the British Crown. I don't have many affinity with them. So we have to not just repeat slogans and build a pride on what exactly. I think that the pride has to be sat really strongly on justice, on integrity, on balance, the respect. I talked about it earlier. Imagine that your grandmother was saved by someone in your bloodline, in your past, and everybody would be talking about that person, the context, etc. Or we would refer to that person, so nice, she saved our grandmother from a certain death. That's exactly what happened. Our ancestors were saved by the original people, and there's a lack of recognition of this. And things wouldn't be in that state right now with the original people that are reduced to these very small territories where there's no animals, no fish, not enough territory to be self-sufficient and survive. And it was completely stolen, their way of life. A fundamental way of life was stolen. So the Québécois nation, the potential I see is that, yeah, to be recognized as a Québécois nation, but to use this opportunity that is unique throughout the world, a legal tool that we can use, a peaceful tool, because the Wampum is the first peace treaty that ever existed on our Mother Earth. So we have a tool here to re-establish, to bring back to order. Here, there's a legal agreement. Here, as Québécois, we're legal signatory. We have a responsibility. And we will take that responsibility and we will denounce the disrespect of that treaty. We will also denounce the unjust treatment that original people received here and all around the world. So we can be an example for the whole planet and say, we denounce injustice, we denounce murder, we denounce rape of the original people, we denounce this territory being stolen. And this has to be done in alliance with the original people for our nation to exist. So the sovereignty doesn't go anywhere because we don't talk about the real thing, because we try to erase thousands of years of cultures and of people so rich. But not only that, they have the medicine. This is original people terminology. They can bring the solution to our society that is clearly sick. Let's talk truth here. The original people, facts speak louder than words. They were always in balance with the territory, in balance with all ages of society. The elders, the children, everybody were profiting of a community, life in community, and instead of having to run around like crazy trying to pay a roof over our head and try to survive all these costs that are thrown at us. And today, we don't even have the time to raise our kids. No time for that. We have to generate money, taxes, etc. So it is a path that we are following of these colonizing forces. And they told us you need a job and your house alone over there, and then you need to look good. Is it truly what we want? I always felt my heart is with the original people, is with the people that respect the earth, with the people that respect their agreements, and people that have always been connected to the earth and can guide us, because who could guide you on how to reconnect to the earth? It's certainly not the people that are disconnected. It will be the people that are still connected to the earth and that have been for thousands of years. And the strength of that, the voice that comes back, the freshness of a life that has a sense, a deep meaning to it. Because I don't believe that there's much meaning in these lives that we're living today. We got into this movement so fast, we're so busy, we don't even have the time to do like an evaluation of where are we going. You know, where is the integrity, morality? We have to see where our energy is going and what it participates to build. We can say, well, it's not my fault, you know, I don't want to live this life, I don't have any choice. Well, it's debatable, because at one point, when we reached a point where the world we're living to the other generations doesn't have any sense anymore. We leave them a responsibility to correct everything that has to be corrected. We have this responsibility because we are part of this society. Each person has this responsibility. So the tool Wampum is something very real. It's a legal tool that cannot be questioned. It's a tool that can be used by the Québécois to affirm your identity, your true identity in the respect, balance with the territory. I learned with the Longhouse that the earth has the same organs. She's alive. She has the same organs as in our body. It's a perspective that is such refreshing, so rich, and I feel like sharing it with you because we're talking about territory. So what is the territory? So according to the original people, so here, St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes is the biggest source of fresh water in the world. So the original people always considered that the St. Lawrence River is the main artery, the main heart artery of the earth. And if you were born near that place, you emerge at that exact spot in your life. Of the simple fact that you're just born there, you have a responsibility towards these water, this river. If you were born in Europe, for example, and it would represent, I don't know, the lung. And if you come here on this territory and you are in the heart, in the artery of the heart, well, you cannot act as a lung here. So it's not to say no immigration, but it's to see immigration some differently. People that come here have to learn about what is this territory, what is the balance here, what should be respected, where are my feet grounded here on this territory, what do we know about the original people as Québécois, these people that welcomed here, we don't know nothing. So there's no reconciliation. People that say, oh, this happened before, we have to forget, we have to evolve, that's the past, that happened 500 years ago. Well, no, it's still ongoing today. The reconciliation illusion, that's what it is. It's an illusion that never happened. Because if you had true reconciliation, the voice would be to the original people. And right now, they would be guiding us urgently to correct all the disaster on our Mother Earth. They go with priority. What is important? Is it your tax to be paid? Or is it to go save this water or save the moon from colonization? Imminent colonization, we also have to talk about that. I'm aware that people can receive this information and be surprised, but everything is on the internet. You have no reason not to check, and you cannot say, oh no, this is not true. You go do your research. Go see Google Lunar X Prize, Elon Musk, SpaceX, Richard Branson, Virgin Galactic. Go see Jeff Bezos with Blue Origin. Get informed. The world we are living in, 7 billion people stuck to commit collective suicide. Because there's no way to win money without destroying the planet. We're forced to commit suicide. And the rhythm, it's going so fast because it's the entire planet right now. And we know that there's a lot of people on this planet Earth. And everybody will go and consume and to try to fill this empty hole, and then we are filled with plastic and waste and so on. The true root of our identity is with the original people, with the balance with the earth, the balance between women and men in their true strengths, in the balance to recognize who gave us our life, our mother, and who gave the life to our mother, our grandmother. It's almost auto-creation when you think about it. Because did you ever think about this? Your mother, when your grandmother gave birth to your mother, the seed of who you are was already in the belly of your mother. So your grandmother, she already planted you in your mom's belly. It is to show you the strength of matrilinearity, strength of life that we don't honor anymore. And I think there's an interesting parallel to be done between the treatment that our mother received and the treatment of the women, the mothers. What gives life? What gives what we need to survive here? Our Mother Earth, our water, the food, shelter. And our mother, she gives us our life. Nothing less than that. And how do we honor that? We honor that. Tell me, how do we honor that today? What demonstrates in our daily life that this is the most important thing? And if the answer is nothing, well, maybe it's time to realign and question yourself, because I am convinced that there's a much bigger dimension to all of this. I believe that there's this spirituality to each being here. And it is time to honor that. Because if not, you become a robot. You become a taxpayer, and that's your identity. There's an urgency right now. There's an awakening. I think everybody's noticing this. People talk about what's going on in the world. People search for solutions. I believe sincerely that the solution is to get together, to speak, and to have this type of conversation together. To speak between human beings without pretending oh, this is the solution. We have to sit and dialogue, because each individually in our house, isolated, we have no power. We become observant. We observe of the bad news, of observing what's happening in Hawaii, observing life. So if you're observing life, you're not playing your life. You have to play your life. We only have one. There's so much beauty, extraordinary things that surrounds us. It's not true that we should be in buildings and doing paperwork, bureaucracy, and lose your life. That's not our identity. So this is a bit more about the Turu Wampum. Québécois, Québécoises, Québécois. I think that we are carrying these roots of these original people in us. In all our bloodline, we have this presence of the original people, these memories, and our heart was always much more closer to this than aristocracy or monarchy, or where people are close to the earth, and we need to protect the earth. All of the disaster has to be corrected, and it is a life that is aligned with the deep meaning, aligned with, well, it's going to auto-nourish after that, because in my experience, I wasn't an activist. I wasn't distant to that. It was I was seeking the truth. This is my life. And I was asking why it doesn't make sense in my head. Okay, you offer me a solution. Okay, so that's supposed to be, I was talking about this earlier. Huh? Is it like, okay, touring with Cirque du Soleil, what I experimented? Well, when you stay connected, you see that it's an experience. Like other experience, it can enrich you, but at one time, when it played the role that it had to play in our life, then you go and search on deeper meaning. In today's society, you have to stay really connected very strongly, because there are so many traps. Traps of debts and the trap of just going to sleep. It is in front of our eyes. We know water is important. We know earth is important. So we have to align our lives with this. We know that the original people, they're moral people. They have structure. The Great Law of Peace, I invite you to really get to know about it. It is a law. Just to give you an idea, I give often this idea to show you how rich it is. Last year, I attended the recital of the law that happened only once every 5 years. And this recital lasted 26 days from morning to night. So it is extremely rich. There's so much to say. It's a peaceful structure. It's a world. It's a peaceful world. It's another way to see what's possible. So here it is. That's all for today. Okay, I'm going to go see comments as I do usually. I'm going to see who's there. Woohoo! A lot of people. Hello, hello, Sylvie. Hello, Rose. Hello, Thierry. We have Christine that says hello. Hello, Christine. Sylvie, an ideal world. Yes, ideal world, the original people. If you would have the possibility today, say you had the possibility to either have your house with a mortgage that you might pay when you're 70 years old, or you have the possibility to live in a community where everybody's helping each other, where you have eating great food, the elders can go older without having to ask themselves how they can pay for these centers where they might end up, and I hope I don't have cancer, and look at this lady there, it's really difficult for her, but so let's cross our fingers and hope that it goes well. But I'm telling you, it's not going to go well. If we have the choice to live in a community with the children in safety, with the community that are being taught the real truth, the real things, what do you learn at school? We learn a program. I did a BA in psychology, and I had this fiber. I wanted to contribute to the world. And it was so fast, so many people that they accepted every year, and the pressure then to perform. People would backstabbing each other, they would tear up the pages on important books at the library, and then we're studying in psychology to supposedly help people, and now we're learning all sorts of theories of Freud, and we don't really know why, but we never made real exchange with people in real life, because communication in psychology, to put someone at ease, we never talked about that in my BA. And I got aware, I realized that it was a way to get in depth and finally have a paper that would open the doors to these same people that learn the same things, that never learned to truly establish a real contact with the person and truly have real tools. And often psychology, they're in partnership with the psychiatrist, and then there's a lot of medication given, etc. And so, yeah, it was the ideal world, these communities. It is still possible. But you must learn. You have to know how does it work. You need to know how to work the earth, and there is the importance to stay connected. Okay, so we have Danielle here. The French takes origin in Latin origin, and the news actually, Danielle, you have to look at it. British Crown would not tell you that she didn't respect the treaties, and she will not also tell you that she invented the French language. So I'm bringing you an information, and I invite you to go and validate it, because I know you're an expert to search on the internet, and we can talk about it after. It is another point of view. We are here to speak, see other points of view. I don't have to tell you that the history at school, we're not learning true history. If we learn true history, so we have to be careful with the information that we already have, that we take for granted, that, it could be in books and so on, but it doesn't mean that it's the truth. And the world being in the state it is, and so corrupted, knowing the educational structure are managed by the government that we are talking about it. So we cannot take that for granted. And to have a critical eye and have a debate about it, to stay open on things and information that we could share, and not emotionally react to an information, but do the research that could potentially enrich us. So this is the debate that I invite you to have with me. They have the wisdom, yes, clearly, and Elsa Kim is there, great. So this was episode number 4 of a conversation regarding the true Wampum. I hope you liked it. I really like to speak to you. It's almost always fun. If you have suggestions of theme that you would like me to share with you, of my experience with the Kanienkehaka Traditional Council, it's extremely welcome. I could even do my next capsule on this. So I'm inviting you to share what your interests are and your comments too. I thank you very much. Skanagawa, great peace to you.